Yay! Okay, we are recording Happy Focus Forward Celebrations Night. We just did a 12-week course. Some people call it a boot camp. Some people call it a pace setters. And we did it, y'all. And so tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to look back on what we learned, how we grew. Any questions? We want to really have an opportunity before we move on to what's next, right? We're hitting June. It's our last month of our year, and we are wrapping up a year and positioning ourselves for a new year. So lots of exciting things happen in June. Some exciting things are probably happening that Tanya and I don't even know about yet, because we find out the same time you do on June 1st. And so before we move into that, we want to really have some good closure around this Focus Forward series. Now, I'm going to say it. I've said it lots and lots of times. So those of you who are actually listening to me are like so sick of hearing me say it, but I'm going to say it again anyway. And that is that this series was very intentionally designed to be an ongoing opportunity for you. It's like an online course that you get to take at your pace and your timing. So you may even be watching this video a year from now. Okay, this is something that every single class is designed for you to be able to hear again, implement when you're ready, and to pass on to your sister consultants, your new team members, and know that that it's available to you, and the workbook and all of the resources are available to you. And so just because we want to have really good closure around this series for those of you who actually walked through it with us during this 12 weeks, we know that it's not over, because the 12 things that we discussed, it was really more like 15 or 16 probably during the 12-week course. These are skills that it's always important, and you're always going to be learning and growing. Okay, it's something that you may have really got the money management piece down, and you really focused on getting your money in order and getting your lead generation in order. And really that was your focus. And you're just now getting the leads and the set and the networking and the opportunities. Like, you're just getting that going to where now you're really focusing in on exactly how do I reach out to those new leads, to those new friends, to those new connections. And so maybe it's going to be a week or two from now that you actually go into, okay, now I've booked them. Now what? I got to get my party bag ready, So wherever you are, you're exactly where you need to be, as long as you're focusing forward, as long as you're continuing to learn and grow and dig in, and be willing to be coachable and be willing to stretch outside of your comfort zone. And so tonight, Tanya and I are super excited to celebrate and review. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to kind of take turns going back and forth, looking at each week's lesson and the assignments that you had for that week. And we want to recognize you. So we're going to give you a chance. That's why we want to keep it on gallery view, because if you did the assignment, we are going to cheer for you, right? We are going to be cheering. We want to celebrate each and every achievement, each and every step that you took. We want to celebrate with you. And then at the end of kind of our reviewing a little bit of our celebrations of that week's class, we are going to open it up. And here are some of the kinds of things that we're looking for. And you may think of something that I haven't, but these are some of the things Tanya and I talked about. We want to know, what did you learn? How did you grow? Was there anything that was unclear? Maybe you still, is there anything right now that you need clarity around, or anything that maybe you've been pushing that off and procrastinating and maybe even making excuses to not do because there's something about it that's really uncomfortable or intimidating? All right. So we tend to put things off if we feel unclear or we feel fear. And that's okay, because sometimes we're going to feel that way. The thing is that the only way to get past that is through doing. Confidence only comes from doing. And so every single one of the most successful women of all of Mary Kay learned how to feel the fear and do it anyway. And so we say that from a place of, we want to encourage you. We want to make you become comfortable with being uncomfortable. and to learn that you absolutely can do it. So if there's something about it where it's like, I've just never done that before and it really scares the bejesus out of me, you can tell us that, right? It's a safe space where we can encourage and help maybe give you some shifts in thinking or some tools that you need to build your confidence to take that next step. What are you excited about with this new skill set and focus? Maybe you never really had your money in order and now you're so excited because you totally do. Maybe you've done lots of parties before, but you never before were really crystal clear on your why story or the table close. And so you're really excited about how this is going to impact your business, your confidence, your results. Or maybe you have a specific question about an assignment, or this I'm excited about too, advice for others. So if you walked through something and you have a suggestion or an encouragement of like, listen, I'm telling you, I went through this and it was so worth it. And here's why, here are the results that I got, or here's what I learned. Okay. So are you feeling me? Are you kind of getting the idea of what we're looking for here? Okay, great. So that's the kind of feedback. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to acknowledge the assignment that you did, and we're going to cheer, and then we're going to open it up just 1 week at a time, so it's not too overwhelming, for feedback or questions. Okay, so Miss Tanya, oh, and one of the other things, what we're doing is, for example, the IPA tracking sheet, y'all did that every week. So Tanya's going to introduce that on like the first time, but we're not, and then that's it. So if you have something to say about the IPA sheet, the first time we talk about it is when we're going to really talk about it. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to circle back. We're just not going to bring it up again. When we do the booking bubble sheet or what, continue. And then it was like, continue to make booking and coaching calls. We're not going to go through that every single week. We're just going to really focus on bringing that topic up the first week that we introduce that particular assignment. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. All right, Tanya Rose, I'm going to pass this over to you then.
All right, perfect. Okay, guys, are you guys excited? I'm excited. Okay, so show of hands. If you filled out your IPA sheet at least one time even counts. If you filled out your IPA tracking sheet, raise your hand. All right, awesome. Okay. Now, if you began your contact list and you are always going to add to that contact list indefinitely, and you're going to keep that at your side at all times. But if you already started your contact list, show of hands. All right, awesome. Okay, now filling out your discover your why. That was in your workbook. That was helping you really just break down and discovering what your why is. If you filled that out, please raise your hand. All right, awesome. Okay. Now, you can still turn that into your director too, because I'm sure she would really love to see that. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So now I'm going to open it up for you guys to share something that you have taken away from that, how that has helped you, or if there was any kind of confusion with it, or maybe something that might have, maybe you started it, but then something kind of stopped you in your tracks and you realize I can't move forward because of X, Y, and Z. We want to get your feedback, and we want to just dive into that. Okay. Only those IPA, contact list, and you're discovering your why. Okay. All right. So let's dive into that. Popcorn style. Who wants to go first?
Start.
Okay, Kathy. Woo-hoo.
I never did a contact list before this focus series. I kind of knew who I was going, and I would jot it down, but I didn't make up a formal where I just keep adding. And to be very honest, that has been beneficial. I look at my contacts, I look at what I do weekly, and it's kind of like, okay, well, it's helping me. I mean, I got a way to go, but it's helping me. Isn't it a process? It's a journey. So it's a process. So it's helped me to really just literally fill that list out with phone numbers, addresses.
Yeah. Just get your mind moving, right? Get your mind moving. I like that. Get your mind moving. All right. Anyone else want to share?
I will,
Anything
I'll
that-
share.
Oh, wait, who said that? Wanda? No, Lana? Lana.
Lana.
Okay.
Lana.
All right, Lana.
I've been called Wanda before, but okay.
Well, no, I see Wanda on the call, but I couldn't tell with her
Yeah.
voice. I thought it was Wanda that said something. Okay, so Lana, go ahead, hon.
The monthly IPA tracking sheet, I didn't
Okay.
realize all of these things were actually working on your business. I don't know what some of them stand for, but I've been doing them more than not doing them. So
Okay, so which ones do you not know what they stand for? Because that could be something that could hold you back from something even greater for your business. So what would be the ones that you feel are just, you're not too sure what they are?
I don't know what a grand week is.
Okay, so that would be $1,000 weekend sales retail.
Okay. I don't know. It says fill out your WAS.
Okay, so that's your weekly accomplishment sheet, and that is found on
Oh.
InTouch.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay. I think that's most of those are the two that I had absolutely no idea what that was.
all right, perfect. Good. Well, see, those are great because someone else could also be thinking like, what is that? And they may not want to ask, right? And so thank you for letting us clarify that. All right. Okay, anyone else would like to share?
Cindy?
Yes.
Yes.
I found, and Reagan, our unit's been doing this weekly or the sheet, weekly sheet, turning it into you. And I noticed in my business, when I did more of them, it showed. But when I was having a bad week or something wasn't going right, and I just wanted to say, I'm done, then everything suffered. So I think that, that weekly, our little, was the not the weekly accomplishment sheet, which I need to get back in
IPA?
doing. Yeah, the
The
IPA. I think that if you religiously do it, which I'm working on it, I mean, I'm changing, it'll help. It really helps us, Did I hit them all? No. Did I hit the ones I wanted to? No. But I tried. And it just, with the encouragement, of different people and our calls, I think we talk weekly, if not more, weekly. And you'll say, go ahead and try, do it. What's stopping you from doing it? Do it. I think that really helped me focus because I noticed when I was doing a lot more, I was having better results. When I just didn't do it, it was like, okay, I'm having a bad, I can't, it's my fault that things weren't going right. And it's nobody's fault but mine. You know what I mean? It's my fault. I can't say, well, Reagan's fault, it's Reagan's fault or it's Joyce's fault that this isn't working because it's my it's my responsibility to do this if I want to succeed.
Yeah. And one thing I always remember that Reagan always says is fast is easy and slow is hard. And it's so true, right? If we're just if we take a step back from our IPAs or we take a step back from our business, man, does it set us back? Because then when we do get in or we do pick our business back up or we do pick up that phone, it just seems like you take steps back instead of forward because you're just like, you feel like you're starting over all the time. And to me, that is hard. Like that's hard to feel like you're starting a new business all the time. And it's because you keep putting it down. And what I love too, you guys, is you can absolutely put your business down, but if you're putting it down more than you can even count, then you know that you're putting it down way too much. So that then you feel like you're just never getting ahead. You're just never getting where you want to be because you're just putting it down too much. Okay. So then you have to set some boundaries with yourself and how many times you're going to allow yourself to put your business down. So I love the IPAs because you're right. Fast is easy, slow is hard. All right, awesome. Who else would like to share? Okay, so I would like to see a show of hands who completed the lead generation worksheet. So the lead generation worksheet, remember, it was like, having jars out or vendor booths or, okay, great. So we have Lana, yay. Anyone else? Okay, Joyce, Kathy. Okay, so I want to hear some takeaways from that. Just looking at different ways to lead generate, knowing that, you can go through your circle of influence, your friends, your family, but knowing that there's a comfort to know that there are other ways and getting outside that box and not dealing with the same people all the time. There's some sort of, I don't know, relief, I guess you could say, knowing that like, good thing it's not just my friends and family, seeing that there are other people I can actually get in front of. It's refreshing to know that. And so looking at that lead generation sheet, what is something that was a takeaway for you guys, or maybe something that kind of made you stop in your tracks, or something you guys want to share with that aha moments with the lead generation? Does somebody maybe discover that like one jar isn't enough and maybe you needed to do 10? Like little things like that, like one vendor booth, remember how we talked about last week that like, Jesus isn't going to give you a ribbon for showing up one time. He wants you to endure and keep going. And he's not going to say, here's your ribbon. You showed up to one practice. Yay. And so it's little things like that. So Lana, you had your hand up, right?
Yes.
All right. So go ahead and share with us then.
I had only one jar out because
Okay.
I don't really go a whole lot of places, and I was tied up with Mr. Bob and couldn't go a lot of places, but I've gotten 2 more jars out so far, and I'm making additional contacts. Plus I didn't realize this was part of networking, but I should have, but I didn't. The online vendor groups, I'm in 3 of those.
Great.
And the one thing that I don't do very well at is warm chatter. I'm not somebody that can just walk up to you and tell you, start talking about my business. I can't do that. So I've tried it, and then I just start stuttering. So
Well, if it makes you feel better, if it makes you feel better, stuttering is normal. It is absolutely normal. I still stutter till this day until I get to about the 4th attempt with someone. Like, the first person, I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And then the second, I'm like, blah, blah. And then the third, I'm like, blah, blah. And then by the 4th one, I'm like professional, like, oh yeah, I've been doing this my whole entire life. But it took 3 other people for me to go blah, 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 all over, and it's like, oh, whatever. It is what it is. They don't know who I am. They're either gonna say yes or no, whatever. And luckily, Lana, there's other ways to lead generate. So it's okay. Can you imagine if that was the only way and you were like, darn, how am I going to do that?
Yeah.
So that's
I would be in trouble.
All right. Awesome. Anyone else with lead generating the generation worksheet? Jennifer.
I actually got me to thinking where to put the jars. And I actually wrote them down that night. And of course, I've been so busy, I didn't have time to get done. But now that I'm out of school and after my surgery, I'm going to get going on it because I'm going to have lots of time to sit and not do anything.
See, you guys can always go back and build off of these homework assignments and build off of this workbook. I love that, right? Because that was like one of the second class we did. And you're able now 12 weeks later to go back to that second class and say, you know what? This is a really good nugget and I'm going to tackle it right now. I have the time right now to do it. And what better time than now, which is great. Mm-hmm. Awesome, Jennifer. I'm excited. All right. Anybody else want to share on lead generation before we pass it on and go to week 3 and 4? Right, Reagan, it's your cue. Passing it on, Reagan.
Yay. Well, I love what you said, Tanya, about like, aren't we glad that there are so many different ways? Right. I mean, my mom is actually an introvert. She's a strong, she's an SD introverted person. And she built her entire career on warm chatting because they moved all the time. Whereas I'm super extroverted and I make friends everywhere I go and I despise warm chatting. Like the minute that you tell me I have to go and I have to talk to somebody and I have to get their number, and it like all of a sudden I'm like, and then what if they don't like me? And then it feels like personal rejection. Whereas my mom, it didn't feel like personal rejection. She could just do it. And so, it's just like I tell my son, Luke, you do not have to like all of the vegetables, but you do have to like some. You have to find a few that you like. Okay. Just be glad you have a mom who doesn't make you eat vegetables that you hate, but you have to find some that you like. All right. So here you are with the nicest moms ever who are telling you, you don't have to do all of the lead generating, but it's really important if you want to feel that momentum, like you were talking about, you don't want it to always feel hard. You don't want it to always be starting from scratch. And the only way to do that is to experience momentum. And in order to do that, we need multiple facets of ways to just be meeting people, because without people, I mean, we're in the people business. We have to be meeting people. Okay. And then, so I want to put a little challenge out there for Jennifer, and maybe there are some others of you, you're fixing to get ready and you've got your list. And so like Jennifer, wouldn't it be amazing? I'm just going to throw this out there for you to think about, to see how many jars you could get out before your surgery, so that while you're resting and recuperating for a few days at home, those jars are working for you. And then by the time you feel ready to get up again and get moving around, you now have already got that going. So just going to throw that out there. I think it would be really great. Okay, y'all. So the next week that we had was our time management week. And so your assignment was to create a weekly plan sheet and to track a weekly plan sheet. Okay, so how many of you have created a weekly plan sheet? How many of you have created kind of your typical ideal weekly plan sheet? Excellent. Yay, way to go. All right.
I love Shirley. I love your face. I'm watching everybody's faces,
Well,
and it's
I started, and then I'm like, oh.
Okay, so you might be, so that might be you might be the one to come up and just maybe, share if there's like a hiccup. So before we do that though, real quick, how many of you actually tracked a week, went back and wrote down about every 30 minutes to an hour and tracked where your time went for a week? Yay, Lana! Who else tracked?
Cindy Anita.
Did. Shirley did. Anita did. I'm looking for hands. Okay. Yay! To actually go back and track a week, because we learned so much in doing that exercise, right? Okay, so we want to hear from y'all. What did you learn from that experience of either tracking your week or planning your week, or both? What did you learn? Or is there a question that you have, something that we can help you kind of get through mentally or emotionally to get that weekly plan sheet in place for you? Because it's designed to work for you. You don't work for it. It works for you. And we want you to have the most powerful plan that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
So who's got feedback about that? Cindy, hey there.
Hey, that weekly plan thing, my life has been up and down, up and down, up and down. And it really helped me focus, because when I wasn't tracking, I was between my work, my son, with everything going on in my life, I was like, oh, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. But if I put it in the sheet, it was like, I'm going to have to answer to somebody, or to myself. So it really, really helped. And I found out today my life is taking another turn for the good. And so I think, I'll change it up again. It's not set in stone. You don't have to do, okay, this week I'm doing, this, and this week I'm doing this, or this hour I'm doing this. You can change it. Y'all would not believe how many times oregano's mine's changed and actually get ready to change again. So that, if you didn't do that, and I didn't realize how much wasted time I had, that I could have been doing something, instead of just, hanging out at home or just, so it really helped me. It helps you focus.
That's so great. I love it. Focus. I love it. Focus. That lead generation sheet help focus where to go. The weekly plan sheet helps focus your time. And doesn't it help? I don't know about you guys, but I can really get really tired thinking about what I should be doing. But when I create a plan and I can follow the plan, it's a lot less exhausting. I can just do it.
And I think, yeah, and I think Reagan, I know you and I have talked the dump list. I don't know, I can't remember. Do we talk about that on here? Because if we've been on here, what, for 3 months?
Yeah.
That, you know, that's helped so much. You know, when I've hit a rough spot or I have doctor's appointments or this was changing or that was changing, I would highly recommend y'all, if, do that 5 most important or brain dump or whatever y'all call it, ma'am, because it helped a lot.
Yes. I love that. That's such a good reminder, Cindy. So in case you guys missed it, she's talking about doing the brain dump. So before creating your 6 most important things list, just get out a piece of paper. I know I'm not the only one who sometimes feels like there's so many things that I need to do. I'm having a hard time. And then again, it takes more energy than if I can just write everything down, every single thing. Even like, I need to get the boys' passports this year. I don't want to wait too long to do it. Am I going to do it this week? No, but I just need to write it down and have it on the list so that I can circle back to it as I'm planning like my next couple of months out, that I want it needs to get on the list. And once that's on the list, it frees up some mental and emotional space. So if you have not made a dump list yet and you are feeling overwhelmed, that is such a solid, good place to start.
Yep.
Anybody else have anything you want to share or any questions or frustrations around the weekly plan sheet?
Shirley? Well, you said something was holding you
No,
back, right?
Well, I would start it, and then I think I would just get frustrated because if I didn't do what I had planned to do, I just kind of get ugh.
So would
So-
you like throw
so
your
you know
computer
what,
out
Cindy,
the
is-
window?
Huh?
So I think maybe what would it feel like if you were to totally take the judgment out of it, take any kind of frustration or judgment or anything like that, and just track your week to
That a couple of times on
I
us.
know. I don't know why it does that. Okay, so that would be something I would really encourage you to try. And this is I'm sure there are others out there that could really benefit from this, is instead of trying to create structure kind of out of thin air, you may already have like a really solid plan, like a flow that's working for you. You may have a really good rhythm to your life that's working for you. And maybe it doesn't even feel that way, because if you could just maybe tweak 1 or 2 things, like it would all kind of fall into place. And if you could give yourself a pat on the back for all the things you are doing, maybe, and I'm just, Shirley, you and I haven't talked in a while, so I have no idea. I'm just throwing out from my personal experiences. I can spend a lot of emotional energy thinking about what I should be doing, what I should have done, what I didn't do, and kind of beat myself up. And then it just drains me. And honestly, it just makes me want to go get in bed and take a nap. Like my anxiety and depression just skyrocket.
That's where I get. And
Okay.
I do. There's my times that I know when I'm even at work. I'll start after I'm already off of work. And people start talking to me about, my business, and I start talking to them about, the Mary Kay and this, that, and the other, and it ends up being an hour, 2-hour deal kind of going on. But I don't know, I just kind of frustrates me because I'm like, okay, well, I didn't have that planned, and I don't know why I do that to myself.
And I think that there are some people who can have so much structure that you miss out on really amazing God opportunities. So like my weekly plan sheet is fairly detailed, but I plan for God opportunities. I plan for rest. I plan for things to take a little bit longer, because I know that if I'm always running late, then it starts to mess me up. And like what Cindy was saying, what's really cool is that when you get clear about your priorities of like what you need to fit into that week or that day or that month, or even just like that quarter, like I don't need to get their passports tomorrow, but I do need to get that appointment scheduled for sometime in the next like quarter, because I don't want to be stressed about it. I mean, it's for a trip next summer, but I don't want to be stressed about it. So my mental deadline to avoid any kind of stress or pressure is that sometime in the next couple of weeks, I want to get that appointment booked so that we're like ahead of schedule. So as you start to be intentional with those things, you become more and more where your normal mode of operation is being ahead of schedule. And when you're ahead of schedule, you always have time for those amazing conversations. Like you have time to be really nice to the cashier who has no idea what she's doing.
Yeah.
And you're still standing there.
Yeah.
Or for the person that you thought was going to back out of that parking space and they're not backing out of the parking space and you're sitting there with your blinker or whatever it is, you're not, it just gives you that space to be the person that you want to be.
Yeah.
And so I think what would be, and we'll move on from this, but Shirley, I know that you got this is my bag. I love it. Tanya is amazing with weekly plan sheets. I would just take it a step back and give yourself more of an introspective, like just be curious. Spend a week or two just paying attention, like where does my time go? When do I do that? Like I didn't even realize that I always did my laundry on this day.
Yeah.
But it seems like I always do my laundry on this day. Is that on purpose or by accident? Is it because I'm procrastinating it or is it because I'm setting myself up for success? Like, is that working? Is it not working? And you may have a few things that you need to shift. There may be nothing, there may be a lot, but at least then you could just be like, wow, no wonder I'm like, my anxiety level is here. It's because my schedule's not working for me. I'm like a slave to it. So what are the things that are in my control that I could shift to where now this is working for me? And how can I communicate that with other people, in my life? So like my kids know there are certain days that I do certain things. And if they didn't put, their laundry, whatever it is, it's like, these are the days. And so, Tuesday nights, it's my meeting night. When my husband asked me what's for dinner at 6:30 at night, I'm like, I have no idea, but I was like, it wouldn't hurt my feelings because he's in charge of dinner on Tuesdays. And I was like, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if you started thinking about maybe having dinner at a time that I could be fed as well. But I'm going to have a banana tonight. But, and I don't say he's wonderful, but I'm just saying, like, you learn to communicate those things with your family too. Like, this is what I do. This is when I do it. Here's why, And so it's like, I do laundry on this day. And so if you want laundry done, it needs to be in the basket on this day, like that's how it's going to work. Or I do the grocery. That's another one. It's like, well, I get the groceries delivered on such and such day. So if you notice that you're running out of your favorite salad dressing and you don't tell me, and then you tell me the day after groceries got delivered, you're going to be waiting a week because I don't get groceries delivered every day. I do it once a week. That kind of thing. So you just learn to have those boundaries that give you a lot more peace. So yeah, I encourage any of you guys, if you have not done it, to just track a week or two, just every 30 minutes or an hour, write down, what did I just do? No judgment. If you took a 4-hour nap, that's fine. Write it down. Maybe you needed a nap. So give yourself permission to have naps. I'm a napper. I love naps. Not everybody is, but I need to be able to rest. I need 8 hours of sleep a night. Not everybody does. So it's okay. Either way, you just need to take care of yourself. Some people really need that physical exercise consistently. Some people don't, it's everyone's different. So it's no judgment. It's just observation.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next thing we did was booking basics. Set weekly booking goal and execute. Okay, so this is when we started really filling out that monthly IPA sheet with the bubble tracking how many booking attempts you were making so that you can start tracking your own stats and keep up with the people. All right, so we did the booking bubble sheet here and we started really making those booking attempts. So who has feedback or a question about this piece of our skills, our focus series? Kathy, do you have something? Yay, I can see your face.
Okay. I have a goal for myself. Usually I meet it. I don't always get $200. I saw that I should do $200 every time I have a booking, but I don't always. But for the most part, I have been consistently having 3 bookings every week. I didn't have that before. I really made that a priority. I mean, you look back, I didn't. So, kudos to this process. Kudos to the sisterhood, because I really, I can't say it enough that it made me think about, okay, what do I want to do? And I see my other Mary Kay consultant friends, sisters doing it. Well, why can't I do it? Why can't I do it? I mean, really, why can't you?
Mhm.
And I may not get 200 every time, but if I can meet with 3 women or men every week, and that will then usually generate someone else new the next week, and then that generates someone new the next week. So that's just been a process that's worked, and I never really thought about that. I should have, Reagan. I should have, Joyce. I should have, Jennifer. I should have, but I didn't.
Well,
So-
it was
so what?
so it sounds
So
like you
what
just
I
had
didn't. So
really
now I did.
the goal. Once you set the goal and created a commitment to that as just a personal accountability of like in your own mind, why can't I? Why wouldn't I have a goal of at least 3 selling appointments a week? And then you decide, you made that decision that that was going to be your new expectation, your new standard.
Mhm.
And I love, and yeah, I mean, it has shown for sure. It clicked. And that is what you do now is you have 2 or 3 at least new bookings every week consistently.
And something, and I wrote it down in my book, but something Cindy said early on, and Cindy, I will come back to that and maybe I'll put it on our focus Voxer, but you said something early on about, I think it was something you said about when you were in the hospital so many times, when you were in the hospital and things clicked for you there. I'm like, okay, I related to that in a way because I'm like, okay, Cindy made that work for her in that time in her life. So Kathy, I know I'm talking third person here, but why can't I make it happen for me? I just have to figure out what I want and how I'm going to make it happen. So 3 is the magic number. You know, I can't be stuck at 3. I have to increase that number. But right now, 3 is working at this time. But already I have more for next week. And so I'm just going to say it's a process.
I love that. Well, and Mary Kay would always teach us 3 + 3 + 3. So that gets you to be a consistent star. That's 3 selling appointments, 3 sharing appointments, and $300 in sales. And if you have 3 selling appointments each week, and then you start adding your reorder business too, you're most likely going to consistently have at least $300 in sales, often much more than that. And so 3 selling appointments and then 3 sharing appointments mean that you'll probably add about 1 team member per month. And so now if you want to be in DIQ next month, obviously the numbers change based on your goals. But 3 + 3 + 3 is something that is very doable with full-time job, kids, things like that. Getting creative and finding your way. Now, if that's a lot more than where you are right now, just getting into that full circle habit of 1 + 1 + 1. When was the last time that you could say you did 1 selling appointment, 1 sharing appointment, and $100 in sales every single week for 3 months straight? So for some of you, that may just be like, that's a good place to start. Just consistently having that expectation of, at minimum, you are going to put the product on somebody's face 1 a week, at least 1 person a week. You're going to introduce this product to. And so that could be where, for some of you, where your consistency is. And then when you start getting to 5 + 5 + 5, that's when you're starting to look at car driver. 8 + 8 + 8, that's when you're starting to look at directorship potential. And so you get to decide that consistency. Okay, anybody else have anything to say about the really tracking your booking attempts, really looking at how many booking attempts are you making each week? Because that can be that's a big accountability for us to really be honest with ourselves about, okay, am I doing the thing? Am I doing everything except the thing that's actually going to move me forward? because I've been there before. Okay, then Tanya, I'm going to pass this back over to you.
Okay, so on week 5, we went through pre-party prep, right? So getting your stuff together, getting your party tote together, or if you hold appointments in your home, getting your table set up, just knowing what needs to be put out, what you're going to be showing, and then, you know, doing the coaching, doing the pre-profiling and who are you bringing and what are their skin types and all of that jazz, right? Because follow-up is key. We all know that you cannot just book the appointment and go like this the entire week and say, they're going to show up and then suit up and dress up and set up and do all that stuff with hopes that they're going to show up and be a person of their word. We all know that we need reminders, right? We all need reminders. So if you got your party tote together, if you got your like pre-profiling and your coaching, if whether it's like your scripts are there so you can copy paste, or you have your pre-profiling cards there and that's how you're going to go about asking them their questions, you just have your pre-party prep and you completed that. Show of hands, please. All right, awesome, awesome. So if someone was to say, hey, I really need to get together with you, girl, I need X, Y, and Z, you could say, I could be there in 15, 20 minutes. Could you say that? Do you have your stuff together?
Mhm.
Or would you say, okay, how's 2 weeks from now? Because, okay, I need to order. I need to have that stuff so she could be able to try. Then I need to put my bag together. Okay, I can get with you on December 25th. Oh, that's a holiday. Just kidding. Let's see, okay. So kind of go through that, right? We don't want that. Okay, so awesome. Way to go, guys. Okay, so show of hands. If you created your iStory, that was what we did in week 6. Fill out, create your iStory, and begin your full circle tracking sheet. So this is where you are going to make sure that no one is falling through the cracks. So hold your hand up high, wave them in the air, and wave it like you just don't care. All right. Okay. You guys are awesome. Good job. Good. Oh, Joyce, that was groovy. That was very groovy, Joyce. Okay, so now looking at those two. So pre-party prep, let's start with that breakdown. All right, guys. So anybody that was like, this was the moment for me. This is where the lights turned on and the disco ball started moving. And I just knew that I was going to be staying alive because I had this party tote. Anybody have any kind of aha moments or any kind of like, shoot, I don't even know where to put the cotton balls, much less put my party tote together, All right, Joyce, share with us, girl. You're on mute. You're on mute. It sounds really good, but you're on mute.
I had not had anything in the party tote for a long time.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
that got it loaded back up, ready to go.
Feel confident?
Yeah. Oh
Great.
yeah, I've got everything in there. I mean, I've taken it all out and pretended I had a thing, and then put it all right back in to make sure that I had every checked off everything on the list. I'm ready.
Good.
I can go.
All right. I can tell you're ready too. I
If
believe
you
you.
live within 15 minutes, I could get there.
Awesome. All right. Anybody else for the pre-party prep? Okay. All right. So let's move on to the party, open, and body. So filling out your iStory, creating your iStory. I know that is something that a lot of people get hung up on, right? And we gave different pointers of really how to do it, how to break the ice, how to kind of get that going. So if you created your iStory and you're like, man, I'm feeling good about this, or maybe you're just like, you know what? I'm still stuck. I don't even know why I am here, much less create an iStory, So we want to hear from you. Oh, so it seems like everybody is a professional create iStory consultant. Okay, Cindy.
With my iStory, it's changes, and that's okay. That's what I realized. I think mine's changed. I went from being a wife, a mom, a mom, whatever. mine's changed. I went from me being ill to my husband eventually, he passed away. Now my iStory is getting ready to switch again because I'm going to take a minute, y'all. I mean, my son actually became a police officer today. He signed his contract, which means I am going to have, some of you knew, more time. So my iStory changed again today. Now I have to rewrite it because this means I'm going to be able to cut down on my hours. I'm going to be able to go back to Mary Kay, where I love Mary Kay, but everything went on hold just because of things happened in my life, so now I'm going to have to, rewrite it again. And that's okay. That's what that's okay. You have seasons where you might do this and you might have seasons where you might do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. That just shows that you're evolving and you're going through the seasons of your Mary Kay business. That shows that you have roots in Mary Kay. That guess
Right.
what? Life is going to change and things are going to change.
Yeah. And the only thing is and I think I need to probably get my confidence. I know you guys were talking about the party tote or whatever. Girls, I cannot tell you when the last time I have it. And I don't know if it's fear. I don't know, I've had an appointment. Okay, I'll meet with you. And then I don't know if and they back out. And I'm like, okay, well, then that makes me feel, okay, well, I'm inadequate. I'm not doing something right. So just, I guess, keep on plugging away. And I guess somebody said you get 10 yes, you get 1 yes for 20 no's or whatever. And never be afraid, just keep on doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Keep facing those giants because that's exactly what is happening, is you remember about the opportunity that is waiting around the corner, but you have to trust that there is that opportunity that's going to come after the failures and the no's and the disappointments. There's always, God always has an opportunity waiting for you. So you got that. You've got it, Cindy. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to share the iStory part? iStory full circle tracking sheet, Lana?
I'm kind of like Cindy. I work on my iStory all the time, and it kind of changes depending on where I'm at and who I'm talking to. I've never done an in-person facial. They've all been virtual, and I mean, I've done them there at the location with Cheryl, but not one-on-one by myself. I'm going to have my first one on Saturday, where we're doing the full facial and everything.
Yes. So
I
what a
have my
way,
party tote ready.
yeah.
So
And in your iStory, you've got that going.
got that
pretty good.
going. And,
Yeah. That's
so
awesome.
that's, I've been doing this 3 years now, and this is my first in-person facial. So I'm kind of nervous and kind of excited. So I'll get there.
Yep, you will absolutely get there. Don't you worry. You got to start somewhere. Everybody has to start somewhere. There's
Yep.
no way you can skip step 1 through 5, and you can't just go to 6. I mean, you could. It's going to be kind of weird though, but just start somewhere. Start. What about full circle tracking sheet? Anybody with the full circle tracking sheet starting to realize oh man, I am totally skipping sharing the Mary Kay opportunity. I am hitting the dots on every single thing, but man, there's a pattern. There is a pattern there. Poor ladies. They have no idea what they could have access to. And I hold the key to it. Any aha moments with the full circle tracking sheet where you're starting to see oh boy, there's a pattern. Kathy, I see you nodding your head. You want to share?
It is. It's a pattern.
Yeah.
Said fear earlier. I've met fear head on with many other aspects of the business, but that one, I don't know. I haven't embraced it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I haven't really. I think probably I brought one individual into the business, but her life wasn't at a great place when she came in. But I haven't given up yet on her. I think it's a perfect business for her. and she could be perfect for the company and the company could be perfect for her. So I'm gonna, she started in October, but then she has a 3-month-old and she's a single mom. So
Yeah.
we'll see what
And
happens.
you can just continue to hold her very lightly, but
Mhm.
also holding your hand open enough for others to join you too. Because if you do this, you're not allowing anyone else to come in and join you. And
Mhm.
you're holding her so tightly too that she's not able to move within herself and expand and figure things out too for herself. So you have to just kind of hold people like this, but it also leaves it open for others to just start to come into, when you're doing that. And it's fun too. When you can just get past that, you guys, it is fun. It's really fun to have those Mary Kay conversations with people. If you could just get past yourself, because it really is yourself. Yeah. Once you say like, self, get out of the way, I love you, self, but I got this, and then you have those conversations. They're really cool conversations, and you start to see yourself light up, your face lights up, your eyes light up. And this person across from you is like, oh, she has a lot of passion for this business. And you start to realize like, this is really a cool business, and I'm going to share it with her. And she may want it or may not want it, just like a piece of gum. They may want it or may not want it. It may stick, it may not, but you're going to continue to spread that passion and that light through those conversations. And it's just going to feel good to you, regardless if she says yes or no, because you just know, like, I just want to share what I have. I just want to share what I have. And I want to hold like this in my business. This is my business. And I want to make sure that everybody always knows that my hands are open for them. So you continue to do that, Kathy. You'll get there. All right. Awesome. Anyone else want to share full circle tracking sheet aha moments? If not, we are moving on to week 7. Going once, going twice. Sold to Reagan. Reagan, week 7.
Great. So I know we need to start picking up the pace, but we're having
Yeah.
so much fun learning together.
I know, it's just so
So
fun.
I'm going to try to talk a little bit less, y'all, because I'm a talker. So I know we are getting a little bit behind on making sure we have enough time for all of them. So closing your parties and then the post-party customer service. Those were the next couple of weeks. So closing your parties, that was the assignment was having your surveys ready, having your closing sheets ready. That's part of, packing your tote, that party tote. Do you have the surveys? Do you have the closing sheet? And are you clear enough about them to be able to explain them to your guests? And then creating your roll-up bag display. So we talked about having a roll-up bag that stays pristine and pretty so that they can see, because the eye buys, that they can see that roll-up bag fully loaded with what's on your closing sheet. So how many of you guys did those? Printed the surveys, closing sheets, raise your hands. Yay, I see lots of hands going up. You're ready to rock and roll. Anita's got hers pulled up. And then how about creating your roll-up bag, your display roll-up bag? Yes, I love it. So good. Okay, any aha moments for those? Anything you want to share or suggestions for others who might be listening? Okay. Oh, Anita, yeah, go ahead and unmute yourself. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's just you suggested one way and then Cheryl and Tanya suggested another way, but I have to decide which way because I have the product in the roll-up bag, so I have to take it out and then put them in the things like you have. And I still have to get the zipper bags. I have to find a few more zipper bags because I have a bunch of those zipper bags. I just have to
Great.
bring the zipper
Did you
bags
see in the focus group where Joyce shared a link where she found them? Okay, good. Because she found
Yes,
them
I did.
super inexpensive that
Yeah.
the repair set fits in as well.
Yeah, but I had a few already and I just wanted to kind of match what I already had. So I was thinking of just buying a few more on
Yeah, section 2.
section 2. Yeah. sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, Thanks for completing my words.
You're welcome. Absolutely. I love that.
You think
Yeah,
that
well,
makes
and it's so true that there's always going to be more ideas out there. So some people I think are struggle with they're so caught up in finding all of the different ideas that they never really just pick one and figure out what makes sense to you. And so I encourage you to do what your director's teaching you to do. If for some reason, just your personality and the way that you think just it's not quite clear, and you see someone else doing something, you're like, that makes sense to me. Like, I can follow that. It's fine. You're self-employed, but and so you get to decide, like, this is what makes sense to me. And that's how I ended up with my particular closing sheet, roll it bag close. This is what I do. This is what I teach. This is what I sell, because it makes sense to me. And I got great results with it. So the most important thing is pick it and do it. Yes, Anita?
I am finding that it is hard to put everything together because, like, I was doing facials with my friends and everything, and it's hard to fit everything in one. And I was like, you made it seem so easy that you had everything in one bag. And I was like, I don't know how she did it because I
how
was trying to
Reagan
fit my
does a
bowls.
lot of things. I know.
I was trying to fit all my bowls. I was trying to fit
Really?
everything. And I was like, okay, this isn't working. So I had 2 bags, but I was still having struggle trying to even zip it and make it look all nice and neat. So I'm trying to put it like nice and neater.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, because I got the boxes of all the foundations, those boxes that they put, the
Yeah.
sections we had with all the foundations. And I was like, I know it gets too bulky. Everything gets bulky. So I
Yeah.
got to kind of maybe condense things. So that's where I'm going to have to figure out another little solution. Because I was like taking all this stuff and it's like, this is a little bulky because my zippers are not zipping. So
Right. So
that
yeah,
I'm finding I
maybe
got to get
taking
a little
out.
less, condense a little bit more. So that's another solution I have to find. So yeah.
So I like Joyce's idea of going through a party, just put some stuffed animals at the table or whatever, and go through the party and go through your bag and unpack it and then repack it. If everything doesn't fit in 1 or 2 bags, then taking a look at it and going, well, what do I really need? What's helping, what's serving me and what's not serving me? I think that sometimes we too can be guilty because we see this person's idea and that person's idea and this organizational thing. And then we make the mistake, even though we all do it because we love it so much, of going to the vendors at seminar. And then they are like, oh, they've got this display thing and they've got all these different organizational things. And I kind of think that those of us who aren't just naturally organized and simple, which that's me, I'm not naturally organized and I don't naturally keep things really simple. So everyone thinks I'm a C, but that's because I was so intentional about learning that because it was holding me back in my business. And so now I'm very systematic because that doesn't naturally come easy to me. But I think that sometimes people who are not naturally organized actually end up because like now they've got like 6 different organizational systems because they're just, or you go to the Container Store, anyone else, like I'm not allowed in the Container Store. I cut myself off from that years ago because I'm like, well, that's a neat container. I'll put something in it. So then I had an office full of all different mixed match random things. And I would just like find stuff to put in it because I wanted to use it because I spent good money on it and it's so cute. And I can like tuck it here, then stack this one on here. And then I've got this. Okay. So y'all, if you need to make a donation, donate all of the organizational stuff that you really do not need because you are organizing yourself into a big hot mess. And so one of the things, it's like, what can I do to keep the simplest solution? Because I do have a lot of stuff in my bag, but I don't have anything in my bag that I don't actually need or use. And I don't find a reason to use it because it's just such a cute idea that somebody else had one time. It's like, do I actually need that? Like, does that serve me well? Does that take up space? Or does that reduce, like, does that give me space, So you're not alone, Anita. If I can figure it out, you definitely can. And we're here to continue supporting you with that. Like, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. I love it. Okay. And then the post-party customer service, you were assigned to add customers to either your customer Facebook group or your Instagram. Starting to really build, that's one of the lead generation tools. That's one of the customer service tools is creating your own Facebook customer group, or if your unit has a Facebook customer group, adding people to that, and then really getting your systems in place on My Customer. inputting and updating the My Customers, creating your tags, things like that. So who went through the process of adding customers, maybe even creating a group from scratch and on Facebook, or adding them to your customer thing? Raise your hand if you did that, if you added the customers and started really building those connections with them. Yes, yes, I love it. All right, what about getting your My Customers in order? Like getting the My Customers on InTouch where it can be working for you. Raise your hand if that's you.
That's
Getting that in place so that when you do PCP, when you want to do a follow-up, when a new product comes out, you've got those tags in place, your 2 + 2 + 2, all of that stuff that can be working for you when you've got them into InTouch. Does anyone have anything that you want to share about that? Aha moments or words of encouragement for consultants who maybe feel a little bit intimidated by it? Results you're already getting from implementing that? Anything you want to share? Okay. All right. Well, for the sake of time, I'm going to move. We can always come back to that with your coaching calls with your director. Tanya, I'm going to pass this over to you.
All right. So in week 9, you guys, we went over team building, the why and the how. Like, why do we do it and how do we do it? So we gave you guys a challenge to schedule some pearls of sharing, which pearls of sharing are sharing appointments where you're sharing the Mary Kay opportunity, but you're scheduling that with your director, and you and the person are having a conversation about what you do, how they can support you, and could this be something that you could benefit from as well? So who scheduled those with their director? Show of hands if anybody scheduled. Man, so you guys just want to keep Mary Kay all to yourselves?
Yeah, that's it.
Interesting. Okay. And then full circle tracking sheet. So kind of like we talked about earlier, just like who's falling through the cracks, who are you not sharing with, taking a look at that full circle tracking sheet, going back and saying, looks like I have a good amount of people to schedule with my director based off of this track sheet. Who's going to do that, or who has done that actually? Who's used that as a resource? Taking all the thought process out of it because it's on your sheet. Okay.
Well, what I did do is this past week I went through and I wrote notes to myself. Okay. So have I scheduled it yet with Reagan? No, but I wrote notes to myself so about how to do it, when to do it. So,
okay. All right. So you're getting a system in place to share. Right. Okay, cool. So you're going to be executing that soon. Okay, awesome. All right. So leadership and inventory management. If you completed your inventory worksheet, so some of you may have inventory, some of you may not. Some of you might have been like, I'm curious to see if I have the right amount of inventory based off of this worksheet, and I want to work this, that, and do this and that, and have all these hopes and dreams. Do I have enough product on hand? So filling that out, if you did that, show of hands.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And the brand ambassador sheet. Isn't that awesome to kind of like, what am I really using? What do I need to use? What do I need to try? Why am I still wearing, the mascara from 1962? And I need to get rid of that one. I need to get on something new. Like anybody looking at that, if you completed the ambassador worksheet, show of hands.
Okay.
Okay, so from the team building why and how, or the leadership and inventory management, or both, anybody would like to share on those? So team building, why and how, if you have anything to share with that segment, or leadership and inventory management, anything you want to share? All right, looks like everybody understands the assignment. Don't let anyone take you out of your assignment. All right, Reagan, I'm going to pass it on to you, money management.
Okay, great. So for money management, it was setting up your checking account and your savings account. So if you got your Mary Kay, or maybe you already had that in place, we want to see a show of hands that you have a Mary Kay checking account. Yay. And a Mary Kay savings account. Yay. I encourage you to have one of each. Okay. And Cheryl did a phenomenal job of helping us to really treat this like a business and be the CEO of our business, or the CFO, because you are the CFO. You are the Chief Financial Officer. And so again, you want your money working for you. You want to be making more, not have saving more, making sure that you're making your profits and that you see the profits coming in. And then setting up your tax receipt file folder. If you did that, raise your hand. If you've got a taxes folder with all of the receipts, the categories that Cheryl gave you for tax purposes. Yes.
That was a good
It's
one.
going to make it so good come January
Yeah, you're gonna be feeling great.
and come April, especially. Okay. Any thoughts, any aha moments, any wow, I am so glad I went through this exercise. Or words of encouragement to those who maybe are procrastinating it or feel a little bit intimidated by it. The money management piece.
It'll get fun as the money starts rolling in. So if you're kind of like, I don't have no money to manage,
Yeah.
haven't been holding appointments, haven't been booking, I haven't been doing anything. So there's really no money to manage. Well, trust me, guys, it gets fun when you start to get that money to manage. But having these systems in place, as the money starts rolling in, you know what bank account it's going to.
Yep.
And then you know where you are going to be writing stuff off for your business.
Right. And looking back at that 3 + 3 + 3 again, because if you are selling $300 every single week, that's $1,200 a month. So with a 60-40 split, that's a $500 profit in your business every month. Okay. So that's a minimum 5. That's why I think that's such a good doable goal for everyone to, and if you need to do 1 + 1 + 1 for a little while first, to kind of get used to that and build your confidence. But I really believe that every consultant can be at a 3 + 3 + 3, because that's where you're really making money. Like $500 a month is a car payment. $500 a month is the dream vacation every year. More than that. $500 a month can change your financial situation, your living situation, your investment situation, your retirement situation, emergencies for, health emergencies. $500 a month can change a person's financial situation. I mean, that's in, all the newspapers and everything like that. And that's what we want for you. We want this to be something that is actually significantly impacting your lifestyle. And I don't just mean having fancier things. I mean, reducing the stress, reducing the anxiety, reducing the frustration, reducing the fear, giving you the choices of things that will impact your life. And so that is very, very doable. And that also gives you that money to where you can go and do all the seminar things and all the other fun stuff as well. But making sure, do you know where your money is going? And I did have to learn that. I did not always know that. And I was not always good at it. And when I became a sales director, I quit my job. I became full-time Mary Kay. I was single and I owned my own home. And all of the money management classes that I went to, it seemed like the directors, and that at no fault of their own, they were just being honest. But a lot of the directors, they were doing really good money management by living on her husband's income. And hers was like the retirement and the fun money and the things. Okay. I did not have that. So if there's a little voice in your head that is also kind of thinking that, I want you to understand that I supported myself and owned my own home from the time I became a director, and I was 24, almost 25. And I met Craig and got married. I met Craig when I was 29. Craig and I got married when I was 31. Okay. So I want you to know that if you are looking at this as, can I really make an income on this? Can I really support myself? Can I really adjust? And you don't have to quit your job, but I quit mine. This had to work and it had to pay a mortgage. So I had no backup plan. This was it. And so I say that to encourage you that just in case a lot of the people, when you hear money management, you're hearing those kinds of stories where it's like dual income or something like that. You absolutely can support yourself financially in this business if you're willing to show up and do that level, that level of work and that level of leadership. Okay. And we are here to teach you how. Okay, and then the last one was the goal setting and vision casting and emotional management. We remember Tanya did such a great job explaining like the cycles, kind of the emotional cycles that we go through. And the challenge to you was to look at either the Gallup Strengths Finder quiz and take that, or do the Enneagram quiz. And so by show of hands, who did at least one of those, Enneagram or Strengths Finders? Yes. Okay. And so, give us your thoughts on, we want to hear from you. Strengths Finders, Enneagram. What have you learned? And several of you, like at our seminar retreat 2021, everyone took the Strengths Finders. So if this was something where like you did it and then you're kind of coming back to it, we want to hear from you. Aha moments or encouraging words for someone else to be like, you know what? I'm so glad I did it because. I think Anita, yes, you can unmute yourself, Anita. We can't hear you.
I didn't do either one, but I listened to the podcast and I still need to listen to it because it was kind of lengthy and I was kind of dozing off a little bit, sorry to say. But I want to re-listen to it because they were really informative and everything, but I got to listen to it to see which one I am, right? But I didn't get to do the quiz and I've got to go back and do the quiz also, but I want to really listen to it more intensely. And then I want to go look back at your form because I wanted to do that form. I just didn't put time aside because I actually had things to do this week. So I want to do those two more intensely and sit down and do those things. But I did listen to the podcast, those two ladies.
Good.
But,
yeah, really interesting, right? Just kind of an interesting thing to think about.
They were giving good points and everything, and I was like, oh, but they were making me kind of laugh too because that one lady was making me laugh.
Yeah, she's
but
funny.
anyways, I will let the others talk now. So I just wanted to say that I want to listen to it again.
Good. Anybody else? And I know Tanya had asked me to maybe go through a little bit more to help clarify for those of you too, like what the difference is and help you to decide if you haven't done it yet, which would be a good place to start. So before I do that though, does anyone else have anything you want to share about your experience with the Enneagram or the Strengths Finders? Okay. Now, so I'm going to take just a minute as we wrap up. And then we will stop this recording and do our weekly celebrations at the end. But I am a reader. I love to read, and input is one of my top strengths in Strength Finders, which means I love to receive information. Okay. That is not everybody. And so that is okay. So let me tell you, if you're just interested in a good read, a book that will help to just see how God works in creating, like giving you a vision, giving you a calling, maybe you're not even sure you have one. I want to encourage you that I 100% believe that every single one of you has very specific calling on your life, that God has a plan for you, and it's more than one. He had a plan for you 30 years ago and 20 years ago and 10 years ago, and he has a plan for you in the next 10 years. As long as we are on this earth, God wants us to say yes. He wants to use us, and he has a plan to prosper you and to exceedingly and abundantly bless you and to use you in a way that is going to be a blessing to others. That is going to look different at different stages of your life. It's going to look different for different personalities. God is not going to use each and every one of us the same way. All right. And so, not all of us are called to be Mother Teresa, but some are. And not all of us are called to be Mary Kay Ash or Oprah Winfrey. Like there are specific people that are kind of called to be these like kind of big kind of in the spotlight people. But there are most of us, that is not the case. However, God, you are in the spotlight in God's eyes. He sees you just as intensely and purposefully. You have a microphone and a spotlight to God. He sees you and he values you and he created you for a very specific calling. And he also is going to equip you. But sometimes we're not really sure what it is he's called us to, or what to say yes to, or how to move forward, or we feel this deep yearning desire, but we don't know how to step into that. Or there are things that are holding us back. Sometimes those are internal forces, and sometimes it's external forces. Both of those are normal. It's going to happen. So if you just want a book that helps to maybe give you some clarity around your own calling for your life and to encourage you and walk you through some things, then the book that I told you about, Visioneering by Andy Stanley, is just a wonderful book. It's a great read. So that would be something really fun for you to do this summer. And if not this book, then I encourage you to get a book. And I can give you a list of about it. I love to read, so I'm constantly suggesting books. So that's just how I roll. If you are feeling frustrated, if you are feeling like maybe you find yourself comparing, maybe you think that you're not going to be able to reach your goals or do the level of achievement, or maybe you feel like other people are expecting you to be something that you're not, or the support and coaching that you're getting is like, it's just not quite, it's like a square peg with a round hole. Like something's just not clicking and you're not sure why. Maybe you're feeling some comparison. Maybe you're feeling some frustration. Maybe you're ready to really move forward and you just want to know that you're working from your strengths. Because again, this isn't about treading mud. This is about soaring like on eagle's wings. Okay, because you are in the calling that God has given you. And you can be a national sales director. It doesn't matter whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. It doesn't matter whether you're an educator or an input person. It doesn't matter whether you're an achiever or a activator. It doesn't matter whether you are a developer or a believer. These are all different things. It doesn't matter if you're an includer or a responsibility person. So any of those things, because we have national sales directors with all of these. So women who are wildly successful in this business, all different strengths. The key is they worked from their strengths. So if you don't know how to be the best version of yourself and you don't even know what your strengths are, and that can be really hard because especially like if you grew up in a family where your parents had very different strengths and expectations of you. And so your gifts, you never even knew what your gifts were because they didn't know, because they didn't see it, because they didn't understand it. And it's not that they didn't love you, but they were like, why can't you get it together? You know, why can't you be nicer? Why can't you be more organized? Why can't you this or that or the other? StrengthsFinders might be a really good place for you to go. It's an easier to learn concept, and it's going to tell you what your strengths are, and then the book helps you to understand how to work in those strengths. Because if I'm constantly trying to be just like my mom, not only am I not going to get the results, I'm also going to be miserable and frustrated. I am not like her, but I spent a lot of time duplicating her style because it was the only style that I knew. But the magic happened for me when I worked from a space of clarity of God's calling on my life and being the best version of myself and stop comparing myself to everybody else. Okay. And so that would be a great place to start. If you are someone who maybe has already done StrengthsFinders, if you are also an input person, if you just love to listen to podcasts and learn more and dig deeper and figure out like your thoughts and your feelings and know yourself, then the Enneagram is great. If that is not you, honestly, you may not want to go there because it's a concept that takes a long time to fully understand and learn. And one of the ways I've heard this explained is it's like you're entering your home through the basement. So one of the quickest ways that we start to understand ourselves or that we can recognize what our Enneagram is we actually recognize our flaws a little bit faster than we recognize our strengths. And so in the Enneagram, one of the things they do is they help you, they show you your strengths and your flaws at the same time, but it feels like you're just getting called out on your on your flaws. It's like, you're so beautiful. What happened to your hair? I mean, I love it, but I think it was better longer, but I don't know, or maybe shorter, but I love your hair. It's like, okay, are you complimenting me or not? Like, I can't even tell. I feel like it's like, well, you're getting both. You're getting compliments and you're also getting, maybe some constructive feedback about what haircut you should have. But all we hear, right, is the constructive feedback or the criticism.
Right.
And so Enneagram can kind of, it's deeper. It's a lot deeper. So if you are not someone who feels like you're in a place right now where you want to go deep, let this one go. We could talk about it later. Listen to some other podcasts. It's fine. But what I actually loved about this book, The Road Back to You, and taking the quiz was that for me, it was life-giving because I finally felt seen and understood in a way that no one else in my life that there are very, very few. They love me. They love me. My people are not mean to me. I've got great parents, a loving husband. But dear God, not one of them understands me. They just don't get me. They try, sort of, sometimes. That's not all of their strengths either. I'm the empathy person, and they're like, why are you feeling all of these feelings? I'm like, I don't know. I can't help it. So it was really encouraging to be to like read this and be like, oh my gosh, there is someone on this planet who understands me. And it helped me to see blind spots. It helped me to learn about myself and see areas that I could grow and I could relate and be more relatable to other people. It helped me to see things that I had no idea that when I did this, because my heart space was here when I did it, it did not occur to me that they could perceive it this way. And so then when I'm reading it in a book, it's like, well, sometimes people think about it feels this way. And I'm like, what? I would never want someone to feel that way. I had no idea I was making people feel a certain kind of way because of my personality. So learning to give yourself grace while also being okay with maybe having some uncomfortable blind spot awareness. If that is something that kind of rings your bell, then this is great. If not, then maybe don't go there. Go do the Strengths Finders first. Okay. Does anyone have any questions for me about those things? I just think it's good to always be willing to learn and grow. To be growing in your own self-awareness is the only way that we can really grow and be more impactful to others. All right. Did that help? Kind of explaining them a little bit deeper?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Wonderful. Okay, so our last bit of recognition now is we're going to do 25% completion. If you did 25% of the assignments, and then we're going to do 50, and then 75 and 100. We want to see a big wave of hands, a big pat on the back. So if you did 25%, just roughly, if you did 25% of the assignments during the focus series, and you were like watching them and either on live or doing the recording, just plugging in the best that you could, we want to see you. Wave your hands because we are so glad. We are so glad. Hey, that is 25% more than you would have done without it, right? That is 25% growth, and that is good. That is so good. What about 50%? About half and half. You did probably half of the things. You were watching, and you did about half of the assignments. We want to cheer for you. Yes, 50% growth. That's good. That is so good. What about 75%? You didn't do 100%, but you were right there. Somewhere between 75 and like 95%. You were there. Yes, we had several of you that were you were pretty on. You maybe missed a week or two. You're traveling. You didn't have time to get caught up, but you're there and you're still moving forward. And that's what I'm hearing from so many of you is like, I'm still going to do it. I'm going to go back and I'm going to work through the workbook and I'm just going to fill in the areas that I missed. And then I know we have like 99%, 99% Kathy DeHaan. Yes, she did.
I didn't do one though, that I said
You-
I did. I didn't
Oh,
do
You
the.
did the only one that I have
didn't do
missing
the
for you is
3 to
the
6
pearls.
pearls of sharing. I didn't do that.
So that is gonna be our fun this summer, is we're gonna be doing the pearls. Anybody else that did all but just like 1 or 2 things?
Yeah.
Because we want to celebrate you. All but 1 or 2 things. Cindy's raising her hand. I know, Cindy, you were really close too. Yeah, I'd say you were, and I know we need to talk, but yeah, you have all but I think like maybe 4 or 5 things. So yeah, she did good. So Cindy, what we're gonna do for Sherry, and just go back in and fill in a couple of blanks with her assignments. And some of it you may have done, but I didn't have it turned in or anything. So wonderful. All right, friends. Well, thank you. Tanya, any last words about our Focus Forward series? Any
I
last words?
I just encourage you guys to go back and really work through it. I mean, because this is our business. It's not a season. It's not like this is what's happening in May. No,
Yeah.
this is our business. And if you want to really know our business from the inside out, from step 1 to whatever step you end in, this is it. If you had to explain our business to Harvard Business School, you could take this book and say, well, this is what we do, and this is how we track it, and this is what we do with our money, and this is what we do with our emotions, and this is how we do X, Y, and Z, and this is how we build, and this is how we grow, and this is how we sell, and this is how we ask, and this is what we do. And they would be like, oh, great. Do you have a PowerPoint on that? And you'd be like, no, we just have the book. Okay. But like literally,
This is
like
our
that.
PowerPoint.
Yeah, this is our PowerPoint right here. Or just give it to Cheryl, pay her $20. She'll do a PowerPoint for you. But like just knowing that like you have it in your hands. You have the business in your hands. You have the resources. You have the key in your hands. So there should be no confusion of like, where and what do we do? Like, how do we do this? It's there. And guess what, guys? It's been recorded. So if you're like, wait a minute, week 5, where was I? Was I there? Okay, I got to go back and look for week 5 recording because this sounds like something I need. Well, guess what? You have the recording. So it's all there for you. And I just encourage you guys to embrace it and just trust that like, this is the process. This is the journey. I don't need to look anywhere else for answers. They're right here. And go through it again as many times as you want. It's free.
And I will say that is where my confidence came from. And that is where that's how I got in and through DIQ and beyond. Was I had Lisa Madsen's, it was like 5 or 6 CDs. It was probably the same amount of hours of training as what this Focus series is. And I listened to it again and again and again, and especially the one where she did like the booking, coaching, selling, because she had one on like dreaming. Like I listened to them again until I already knew that one by heart. I was memorized. That one on work, like full circle, booking, coaching, selling, team building, and how she did it. I listened to it until it was memorized. And then I went and while I was listening to it, I practiced it. I implemented it, and imperfect progress is absolutely okay. It's necessary. It's unavoidable. Imperfect progress is unavoidable. It's not going to be perfect. Even when Tanya and I still don't have a perfect party where we don't forget a single thing or get tongue tied or run late, like, run overtime or forget to even ask for leads or forget, whatever. There's no such thing as perfection, but you can still be professional and impactful. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to stop.
Thank you, guys.
We have some really fun celebrations that we do not want to miss tonight.